Yes, indeed. Welcome into another episode of Rip N Riff here on the Rip N Riff YouTube channel. That over there is at Mr. Jared Moore. I am at Pucking Thoughts, Adam Bernard. It's a special edition of Rip N Riff today. We're not going to go with the traditional format because we have something that Jared's been cooking up here for a couple of weeks. We got the all team, and we'll reveal that later in the show of current players. Looking forward to that and talking about each line, the defensive pairings, the goaltenders. I mean, no surprise, Jordan Binnington is the starting goalie there. I don't think anybody expected anything different.
No, not. I mean, we don't want to tease too much of the list ahead of time, and you're not going to censor me when I try saying all S-head, are you? Because
I was just doing that for effect the first time, and then
okay, cool. Because I plan on saying that a lot. So yeah, we'll definitely get to that later in the show. I'm excited to reveal this team. I put a lot of time and effort into it, and by time and effort, I mean like 5 minutes, and I'm fairly proud of what we came up with.
I mean, that's 5 minutes you could have spent doing other things. So I mean, it is appreciated. So yeah, we'll get to that a little bit later. No rip and rant today. We will have an I Love Loosey on deck. Jared told me something came in. I've got a bunch. I'm just not ready to do one right now. Next week I'll have an I Love Loosey ready. But without further ado, let's just get right to the pack ripping lineup here. We got a nice mix today. We've got bringing back some 2024 score football cards at the table. Of course, the rookies from that class: Jayden Daniels, Michael Penix, Drake May, all those good guys. And then you see the parallels there, 35th anniversary, and then like every card nowadays is a million different insert sets and all that stuff. I am excited to open the 2007-2008 the Upper Deck Black Diamond. We could potentially be pulling a Carey Price or Jonathan Taves rookie out of that. And we'll do that after the all shithead team because maybe we'll find some shitheads in these packs.
Maybe, yeah, that would be exciting. And I'm gonna go old school here, Topps 87 baseball. And you see all the rookies on that screen. The only rookie I'm really interested in and out of that list, you know who I'm looking forward to. The home run king himself, Barry Lamar Bonds. That's the one rookie card that we want to get out of that pack.
And you get the Bo Jackson Future Star is not a bad way to go either. A couple other guys in that list, decent names there. Shout out Bobby Bonilla for being like one of the most financially wise people of all time, ahead of his time with the deferred payments or whatever it was. But but he's still in the books for a couple more years, I think, with the Mets.
I think for like another decade, and
2035. That's right.
Yeah, it's July 1st. He gets that $1.1 million paycheck or whatever he gets. So, yeah, shout out to him and surely his financial advisors who recommended that he take this sort of deferred salary payment deal, whatever it was when he accepted it. I mean, it turned out to be one of the shrewdest business moves in baseball history.
Now, do you think because that paycheck comes on July 1st every year, there's some expectation among his friends and family that he has to throw a great 4th of July barbecue every year? I mean, getting 1.1, least you could do is get a nice grill going in the back.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not sure that I would want something named after me, like Bobby Bonilla Day, which I guess is what's sort of been called. I'm not sure I would want that named after me when people know that I'm getting $1.1 million or whatever it is, because that just means that the grifters are going to come out of the woodwork. And yeah, there is a level of expectations placed on you that, when you have that kind of money, you don't cheap out on like the Costco, burger pack, the 20 pack or whatever it is. No, you get like the nice, maybe you get like some Wagyu beef or some Kobe steak or something like that. You splurge a little bit for the friendly, the family and the close friends and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
The annual Bobby Bonilla 4th of July blowout. That's what it should be. I would do something like that, but it's his money, not mine. So I'm not going to tell him how to spend it, but I would like, if you want to invite us to the barbecue, we're always down to eat some grilled meats. We're always a game for that.
Yeah, I'll bring a case of beer or something. I won't drink it, but I'll bring a case.
I'll bring something. I don't know what yet, but you know what? I live in wine country. How about I bring some wine? I'm sure some people.
You bring that. I'll bring like a little potato salad. We'll be fine.
See, we're good guests, and we won't leave a mess. We're not going to leave crumbs. We're good about that.
I might enjoy a fine cigar or two. But I feel like Bobby would enjoy his fine cigar or two, in his post-retirement life. And I'm sure he has all sorts of wonderful stories about playing on those Mets teams in the 90s that I would love to hear.
Yes, those are very subpar, underachieving Mets squads of the early '90s. My first Mets game was it was in '91. My first ever baseball game was a Mets game at Chase Stadium in '91. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to show off some cards. All right. So what are we showing off today?
All right. Well, we're not showing off a card. Yeah, you sort of lied there. But I am showing off a unique Lucy because, like I mentioned a few weeks ago, I was perusing the old eBay machine for various wrestler autograph memorabilia and stuff like that. And like we've done, like I on the show before, we've done the cards, we've done like the action figures. But the one thing that I had never seen before is the autographed dog tag. So one of my favorite wrestlers from WWE was Zack Ryder / Matt Cardona, who is really big into like wrestling figures and all that sort of stuff. So I saw an autographed Zack Ryder dog tag, and I was just like, for $20 or whatever this is, I have to get this. So
yeah, it's a no-brainer. $20, easy.
Yeah, whatever it was. So yeah, we got that's the little insert there for the autograph, and then you got the picture of him on the front when he was doing the whole like Jersey Shore Long Island IC gimmick and all that sort of stuff. So
see, I like a good unique piece of like memorabilia like that, something different than a card or an 8x10 or whatever, or a puck for that matter. It's nice to have some variety.
Oh, yeah, I thought this was great, and I was just like, for at that price point, yeah, I got to hop on that. I've never seen a dog tag before, by the way, with the Topps logo on it, which is interesting. So, but yeah, I'll put that a little closer. Authentic autograph. You got the little WWE logo on there, and I guess whatever, copyright, all rights reserved, all that sort of stuff. They certainly found a way to put the Topps website domain on there. So. Pretty cool little unique piece for the collection. I mean, it's funny. Like, I would say I'm a dog tag guy, but I haven't like worn a dog tag since like I don't know, freshman, junior, sophomore year of high school, maybe. Because like West Point's like right there. You can go get a set of dog tags, and it won't cost you all that much to go get that. But and I had a set of dog tags when I was in high school, but like, I don't even know what it said. It doesn't really matter what it said, but yeah, it was something nice little blast from the past there, I suppose.
I never was like, in high school I wore like a chain, but other than that, I've never been like a dog tag person. And now the only jewelry I wear is my wedding band. I don't wear watches.
Yeah, me neither.
Anything. It's cumbersome. But like watches, I end up scuffing the face up. So it's like, what's the point? Don't get me something. Don't get me some really nice watch that I'm going to be like, oh crap, it's got a nice big scuff on it now, and it's
right. Yeah, you get the. I'd be worried about getting like you get the big scratch on the face of it, and no, 100%. I'm completely with you there.
Yeah, it just gets in the way. I don't need it. It's fine. Now, so Jared shows off his dog tags. Let's get to the cards here. That's what we're here to do today. And we're going to start with the NFL. This is not going to be as fun as a Stephon Diggs boat party. But nonetheless, we're going to give it a shot here.
By the way, what was that story? Because I saw the headline and like I saw like Vrabel said something about it, but I didn't actually know what the story was. So
he caught handing out cocaine at a party. It was pink coke. I don't know, but like not the look you want while camps are opening up for your NFL team. Not ideal. And you know what? Like to me, like that show, like Stephon Diggs to me has not been a relevant player in probably 2 or 3 seasons. I'm sorry. He just he's been okay, but he's like clearly declining. He was a malcontent in Buffalo. It's like you're a malcontent when Josh Allen's your quarterback. Like, okay, fine. So he gets his way out of there, goes to Houston, gets hurt. Now he gets to go to, Mike Vrabel strikes me as a guy. He's not going to give a crap about who you are or what you've done or what you made if you're not about the team. So,
and Josh Allen winning an MVP without Stephon Diggs should be noted.
I said that last year that the Bills were going to be better because the offense would be better because addition by subtraction, because they wasn't going to feel a need to shut Diggs up and force him the ball and keep him happy. Whereas they kind of just took that, hey, we're going to use the whole offense. They ran the ball a little bit more with James Cook, but good for them and good for the Bills. As a Jet fan, I don't despise them the way I despise the Patriots or the Dolphins. First out of the pack here, we got prime time Deion Sanders there.
Yeah, nice little throwback there with prime time in the old Falcons jersey.
I had a Deion Sanders poster on my wall that was prime time. It had a picture of him as a Brave, had a picture of him as a Falcon in action. Wish I still had that. That was a cool one. Guy who moved in the offseason, and Cowboys will be leaning on him. Do we think George Pickens has a decent year in Dallas, or is he just going to continue to be like good but not really good?
He'll have a decent year in terms of counting stats. I mean, the Cowboys needed another legitimate weapon outside of CeeDee Lamb, and George Pickens is certainly that. But the reason that the Steelers got rid of George Pickens is because he's a shithead, and it's not shithead in the endearing term like that I'm using for, the hockey players and their style of play. Like, no, he's like he's a moron, and the fact that like he sort of wore his welcome out in Pittsburgh, and they really had no qualms about giving up on George Pickens, even though he's 25 years old. And this is an organization where if you are a talented receiver, you will get plenty of rope between Antonio Brown and Martavis Bryant and Chase Claypool, and even though he wasn't a receiver, Le'Veon Bell. Like, if you're talented, they'll put up with a lot of stuff. And they decided with George Pickens, yeah, we've had enough.
And they sent him to Dallas, which is just like perfect landing spot in multiple respects. I mean, he'll be a wide receiver too there, but like if he's going to be a shithead in Pittsburgh, what kind of shithead trouble is he going to get into in Dallas?
It's going to be even worse in Dallas. Yeah. But like Jerry will do Jerry things, and Jerry will embrace it because Jerry doesn't care about like winning Super Bowls anymore. He just cares that the Cowboys are like in the headlines and in the stories, and like they're being mentioned on First Take every day.
See how things go with Dallas. I think DK Metcalf is going to blow up in Pittsburgh this year. But if they actually get a quarterback to throw,
I was going to say, who's throwing him the ball?
I mean, maybe one of us if we play our cards right. Let's see. We got Darren Payne here. Picture with the Commanders. Let's got a couple of tight ends coming up here. Cade Otton, kind of mid tight end there for the Bucks. We'll see if how Baker Mayfield uses him this year, but kind of like a middle of the road guy fantasy wise.
Oh yeah, we shall see.
Speaking of tight ends, Mark Andrews. See what happens with him. Baltimore. I know that it's coming to an end potentially soon. Him and being in Baltimore, so we'll see how the Ravens utilize him. It's the last year of his contract, I believe.
And he's saying that he hasn't lost a step, which I mean, that's the first thing that people, when they're losing a step, say is, "No, I'm the same guy I always was." There's a little bit of denial there.
It's like when an addict says, "Oh, I can stop anytime I want." Okay, stop. Go ahead. But I don't want to. Oh, okay. Oh, you haven't lost a step. I don't know. I mean, Isaiah Likely's been playing into your cutting into your targets and playing time, my friend. So see how that goes. Shout out Dave LaGreca on this one. Danny White, legendary Cowboys quarterback.
Yes, indeed.
It's a cool looking old school photo from the 70s, possibly early 80s there. Another guy who is an absolute legend, one of the best defensive ends of all time, Bruce Smith.
Yeah, one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, it made the Jets' life miserable for many years, and rightfully so, because it was just that good. Let's see. We got a couple of Patriots here coming up. We got we got Austin Hooper pictured there as a Raider, but now with one of the tight ends on the roster, and Javon Baker. When you could talk about wide receiver busts, Patriots just don't know how to draft wide receivers.
Yeah, which makes me a little little leery that I took Kyle Williams in one of the dynasty drafts that I'm in. It's like eventually they got to hit on one. Like eventually you're gonna get, you keep throwing enough darts, you're gonna hit the dartboard eventually. It's kind of like the Lions when they had all those number one picks and they went like Charles Rogers and Mike Williams and there was another guy sandwiched in there that actually was pretty good. Roy Williams was pretty good. And then obviously a few years later they get Megatron. But yeah, you throw enough darts and eventually you're gonna hit the dartboard. By the way, just to bring I'm sorry to interrupt you. Just to bring it back to your Jets for a minute. Has anyone nailed it more this offseason than Aaron Glenn when the Jets basically decided, like, before the offseason began, it's like, yeah, we don't want this Aaron Rodgers distraction, like, overlooming everything. Because, like, Aaron Rodgers isn't even on a team, and he's sort of holding the Steelers sausage. So, like, 4D chess move by Aaron Glenn, just saying, yeah, we're going to cut the team cancer out and just we're going to move on.
I mean, if you're a guy like Glenn, you're a first-time head coach coming in. I'm not going to say you're a franchise legend. That would be too much, but you're a very well-respected player in franchise history. And the last thing you need when you're trying to change the culture and establish your dominance as a head coach is a guy like Rodgers that, he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. He's going to say something that undercuts you on Pat McAfee one week, and it's going to cause problems. Don't need that distraction in the locker room. And frankly, the talent has deteriorated to a point where it's not worth the shenanigans with him. And the other thing I'll say about this before we move on from Rodgers, if somehow he doesn't, I know the whole world's expecting him to sign with the Steelers. He doesn't want to deal with training camp and all that stuff. Like, all right, fine, that's cool. He'll show up in mid to late August. If he does not end up on a team, I don't want to hear out of his mouth, oh, I'm being blackballed for my views on this, that, and the other thing. There are a lot of NFL players that probably share similar views with you politically and on the world and stuff like that. They just don't open their mouths and offer it when nobody asks for it. So teams don't want that. You can feel how you feel, but I don't want to hear it's because of how I think. No, it's because you don't know how to shut your mouth and not talk about things that nobody asked about. And they don't want that distraction.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he could set up a text chain with Colin Kaepernick about being blackballed from the NFL. I mean, they can reminisce and share stories about that. Although, the two of them couldn't really be more polar opposites. I don't think outside of football with causes that they support.
Kaepernick was trying to draw attention to an issue. You could say, however disrespectful it was, and we ain't gonna have that debate. That debate's from 6 years ago. But Rodgers is doing it just to stir the pot. He's a shit stirrer. That's all he is. He probably wakes up the night before. What am I going to say on McAfee tomorrow to make headlines? And it's like at a certain point, the talent's not worth it anymore. And he's right on that line. So, and this is the other thing I'll say. If he does end up in Pittsburgh, that shit ain't going to fly with Mike Tomlin. Go ahead. Try it. Well, you want to walk all over,
Robert Saleh, that's one thing.
Yeah, you want to walk all over Matt LaFleur and Ted Gutekunst, whatever, fine. Try that shit with Tomlin. See what happens the first time you get called into the office to talk to him one-on-one, door shut.
Yeah.
Tell me then you're gonna what? You're gonna disrespect Tomlin? Yeah, with his resume?
Yeah. This is the football equivalent of fuck around and find out.
Yeah. Let's see if he straightens up and flies right a little bit in Pittsburgh there. Let's continue with the rookies here. Let's see. We got Braylon Trice here. This is actually a good one because it brings up a card-related one I saw floating around online. Frank Gore Jr. here. There's a thing going around that his signature is literally just FGJ. Like literally the three letters that looks like a sixth grader wrote it. That's an autograph floating around right now for him.
I mean, that's funny. That rocks. Yeah, I certainly like it. I mean, I don't know that I go out of my way to get a Frank Gore Jr. autograph, but yeah, it's pretty funny.
Let's see here. We got a Cade Stover pictured with the Texans, pictured with Ohio State, but on the Texans. Jermaine Burton, maybe we'll see a little bit of an increased role for him out of the Bengals this year. Although with them paying Jamar Chase and T. Higgins all that money, I think they got to get their money's worth and get those guys as many targets as they can.
He'd have to beat Andre Yoshiva, and I don't know that he's going to, so we'll see.
Let's see here. We got Cam Akers. Would have been great to see if he hadn't hurt his ACL or his Achilles or whatever it was. What would have happened there? But it is what it is. Let's see. Let's see here. We got Evan Engram, picture with the Jaguars there. Another rookie card here. Mason Smith with the Jaguars. Xavier Worthy with the Chiefs. See how that wide receiver situation shakes out with him, Rashee Rice, all that stuff. Yeah, Chiefs offense will continue to thrive, maybe. Or are we thinking a step back this year?
I mean, they still have Mahomes and Andy Reid, so they'll figure something out. I did get a share of Jalen Royals in one of the dynasty leagues, so I'm kind of hoping that he can carve out a little bit of a role, but I mean, we shall see. It's always tricky with rookies and whatnot, but it sounds like the Chiefs, like like Rashi Rice and Worthy might be a little bit of a shithead, and like Rashi Rice, I'm pretty sure is definitely a shithead in the negative connotation of that. So I don't know. We shall see.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, is how much is Rice going to play and all that stuff. Because of that other stuff. We got Derek Stingley here, one of the better cornerbacks in the league with the Houston Texans there. We talked about this guy a little bit before. Josh Allen celebration card there. I mean, you would think a Bills celebration card would involve some form of a Costco table.
It would involve one of those cheap Costco tables and somebody being doused in ketchup and mustard, and the table might be on fire.
It's possible. I mean, listen, just jumping through tables is just not enough for them anymore. And that, like the game has to be up. Like, well, I wonder what the next level is going to be. Like, do they have to like jump through a hoop to land on it? Like, got to do something new in 2025.
Well, and like you can see, like I'm wearing the ECW hat today, so like I'm thinking, like you're already doing the jump through tables, just fully embrace pro wrestling. So I would say next would be chair shots.
Yeah.
I would not advocate taking an unprotected chair shot to the head because brain damage is certainly a thing, and CTE and all that sort of stuff. But you could do a chair shot to the back and be safe, or if you are going to do one to the head, you got to get your hands up so you block it a little bit.
Or wear one of those extra caps. I forget what they're called that players are wearing. For
the Guardian caps.
Guardian cap, yeah. Wear one of those that'll cushion the blow a little more. Yeah. All right, we got a couple more cards here, and then we will switch to baseball before we get to our all shithead hockey team. There's the kid reporter card. You want that code to try and win? Go for it.
Yay.
We got 35th anniversary set here. JJ McCarthy rookie. Going to be interesting to see what happens with the Vikings this year. I got a ton of offers, and not in our league, but in my other league for Justin Jefferson this year. It's like I'm still not trading. Get out of here.
No, I understand. I probably, I don't know. It's weird because I feel like I'm lower on JJ McCarthy than most people, so I'm not really sure what I would do with McCarthy. I guess like if I had him and I was being offered, fair value, like I think I would at least consider it, but like I wouldn't trade Justin Jefferson unless I was getting like Jamar Chase or something like that.
I mean, my thing too is like, all right, so Sam Darnold came out last year, played very well, was able to, Justin Jefferson had a very good season. I know there's going to be some growing pains with McCarthy, but what if he ends up being a decent quarterback? So like, I just can't get rid of Jefferson yet. Although in the main league that Rich Mendes runs, that we're in, if I'm not off to a good start, that's going to be the first guy I'm like, all right, want some, make your offers. Like that's a rebuilding chip right there. We got
that is.
Yes, very much so. We got a Xavier Leger potential, hoping for a big year 2 out of him for selfish reasons. And then we close with a sack attack here of Nick Bosa.
Nick Bosa, who I learned yesterday that Joey Bosa is no longer on the Chargers. I guess he's on the Bills now. So there's that.
The Bosa brothers. Listen, the 49ers are going to be an interesting team this year. It's probably them or the Rams in the West. I don't have much hope for Seattle. We'll see if Darnold can replicate his success that he had with Minnesota up in Seattle, but not really thinking all that much there. But there we go. There's a pack of 2024 score football. We got some throwback baseball we're bringing to the table today.
Oh, yes. We got the 1987 Topps baseball cards. I didn't even pre-rip this because it's a nice old wax pack, so it's nice and easy to get in there. And we all have the old stick of gum that is mostly still intact, but you hear the little snap there.
Snap.
Yeah, that's not going in my mouth. So we will
snap that. Is on a hot dog, not a stick of gum.
Correct. And unfortunately, if you're a Tom Waddle fan, unfortunately for him, the stick of gum sort of stay in that card permanently. So it is what it is.
I like the Bears version of Tom Waddle better.
All right, let's see. We have an all-time great Met here in Gary Carter, so that's always cool to see there.
course,
You know,
that 87 tops with the classic wood grain, wood paneling that was in your living room in the late 80s look right there.
everything had wood paneling back then. Yeah, like we had the TV with the wood paneling and the walls with the wood paneling. It was the wood age.
Because it was when wood was a lot cheaper.
And speaking of wood, here's Rob Woodward.
So not Bob Woodward, not the famous journalist, Rob Woodward.
Correct. Yes. So we have that. Let's see. We have Scott Bankhead here with the Kansas City Royals here in windup, about to deliver a pitch. We have another Mets legend here, Keith Hernandez. So that's always cool to see.
Well, good Mets in that pack. It's good stuff.
Yeah, if I were a Mets fan, I'd be thrilled. But I'm not a Mets fan, so I'm sort of indifferent. Let's see. Mickey Hatcher here with the Minnesota Twins.
I'll be seeing the Minnesota Twins a week from today when they play the Athletics in a Thursday 12:35 first pitch local.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a nice little report from you on how seeing a game in that minor league stadium is. We have Bob Walk, who is a pitcher. If you're a pitcher, you probably don't want to be named Walk. So there you go.
Yeah, you want like Bob Strikeout or Bob Whiff, something like that.
Right. Well, if you're a hitter, you don't want to be named Whiff. So there you go. Let's see. We have Buddy Biancalana from the Kansas City Royals.
Can't say I've ever heard of Buddy Biancalana, but sounds like Biancalana sounds like an Italian restaurant downtown.
It does, yes. I'm sure they have the nicest veal parm in the city.
If you're trying to get a Friday reservation, you got to be the week before. You can't wait till week of.
100%. We have Ray Searage with the Chicago White Sox and those old school White Sox look there, which is pretty cool. It almost looks more like the umpire look than an actual MLB team.
Gotta say the mustache looks a little more bushy in the middle than it does on the ends. Like it almost had like a Hitler vibe to it from afar.
Yeah, I didn't think we'd bring up a dictator on the show today, but
here we are.
But there we go. We have Dave LaPointe here with the San Diego Padres. We have a Braves leaders card here with their team leaders from 1986. As you would expect, a whole lot of Dale Murphy in the black type on the back of that card. We have a legend here. We have a few legends coming up here. We have Harold Reynolds. Not so much a legendary player, but just a legend in the sense that like he's carved out a nice long career working in media, first with like ESPN, and now he's doing stuff with MLB Network. And Harold's awesome. So
he's one of the guys that had a good, solid career and then parlayed it into a really good. Like he's just been Mr. Consistent in terms of what he's been bringing to the table since the 80s.
Right, and like he's just awesome on TV. Like I watch MLB Network every day. He's usually on, and like he's very good at what he does. We have Mike Schmidt, All-Star card there, and you get some of the stats in the back there. So Mike Schmidt leading the National League in home runs that year with 37, which is funny when you hear that in retrospect because that's just comically low. Let's see, we have Luis Aquino with the Toronto Blue Jays. We have Mitch Williams with the Rangers.
Wild Thing? That early Wild Thing? Looks like
I believe so. This might be not quite a rookie, but but we do have a Mitch Williams here.
I mean, he had a pretty good career as a closer, but he'll always be remembered for the Joe Carter walk-off.
Yep. I just had a Joel Skinner Yankee card that I just dropped, so we'll grab that in a second. And we have Ray Soff here with the St. Louis Cardinals.
Okay. Solid pack. Some good Mets in there. Mike Schmidt, who would definitely be on the Philly Sports Mount Rushmore, representing the Phillies for sure.
Yep, there's the Joel Skinner card.
Not to be confused with Jeff Skinner.
Right. Well, I mean, those Yankee teams in the mid-'80s were pretty bad. So I don't expect to see a lot of non-Don Mattingly Yankees in these packs.
Yeah, I mean, the Yankees, I still don't like why I became a Yankee fan. I don't know, because I started watching like when they would battle the Baltimore Orioles nightly to stay out of the basement of the AL East. It's the era I started watching when like Alito Perez was their ace.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. That's how far back I go being a Yankee fan. Now, We're gonna get to the hockey cards in a minute. We got a little bit, but we got some business to take care of. Jared's all shithead team, and I'm gonna let him. He's described what shithead in a positive connotation means here. But there we go. You see I don't know why there's trophies that have coiled poop on the top, but
I was gonna say, where'd you find that?
I Google imaged poop and like poop trophy just to see if there was one, and there it was. Just because I was trying to find something to add to the side. So yes, they do exist.
Yes. So the all shithead team. So what's a shithead? Well, in hockey, I think you need shitheads in your lineup, up and down, and especially this time of year in the playoffs where there's all that extra physical play, all that extracurriculars after the whistle, the pushing and the shoving. And ideally, yeah, the player would also be a pretty good hockey player as well. So I guess you're going to go through the slides one by one with the various lines. So
yeah, let's start with line one here. Who's making the top line on your all shithead team?
Well, I mean, this is tough because the top line you want to go best of the best, and if you'll pull up the top line here, I appreciate it. And I mean that's a top line of hockey shithead, best of the best right there. You have Brad Marchand, who's been a longtime shithead with the Boston Bruins, and now you get to see it front and center with the Florida Panthers. You have Sam Bennett down the middle, and look, is Sam Bennett a top center on an NHL team? Well, apparently he is, because he's been, him and Sasha Barkov have been, amazing for the Florida Panthers in yet another deep playoff run. And Sam Bennett's going to get the bag this offseason by somebody. He's a free agent at the end of the year, and he's no longer going to be making $4 million a year. Somebody's going to pay him. And then Nikita Kucherov, who is obviously one of the premier offensive players in the league. I feel like he's a little bit of an underrated shithead, because if you watch enough of those Tampa playoff games over the years, he's the type of dude, like, he'll just like spear somebody after the whistle. He'll throw that extra cheap shot at the end there. So wanted to make sure that we included him in the festivities here.
I would use the word feisty to describe him. He's not just a guy that's putting the puck in the net and not doing anything else. He's playing 200 feet.
Yep. So let's move on to the second line here.
So the second line, this one, if you were waiting for the Kachuk brothers, well, here they are.
Oh yeah, of course, yes. I mean, you can't have an all shithead team without the Kachuk brothers. Brady obviously had a very short run in the playoffs this year because the Senators were one and done in that series. We've seen what Matthew can do over the last few years in the playoffs with the Panthers, and the other thing is, and you saw it front and center during the Four Nations, and just like the edge that they play with and what they bring to the table. You need a center to put between them that can certainly match that. And it's been a while since we've been able to really call Nazem Kadri a shithead, because he, he's kind of in hockey Siberia the last few years in Calgary. It's on some teams that haven't been so great. They haven't been in the playoffs, but like, he's also the type of guy where, like, you remember even dating back to like those Leafs runs when he was on those teams, and obviously he won a Stanley Cup championship with the Avalanche. I feel like if you got Nazem Kadri out of Calgary and put him in a playoff race, that would just rejuvenate him right then and there.
Absolutely. He's, when you talked about, Colorado winning the cup, like, listen, Kadri was a big part of that, because you need guys like him down the middle to, okay, you got like a all-world player like Nate McKinnon. You need a guy that can still be effective offensively and skillfully, but is going to do all the things, the dirty things in the corners, and that's what Kadri is. He's another 200-foot player.
Yep. So let's move on to the third line here.
All right. So the third line, I like to call the Metro Marauders here, all from the Metropolitan Division. Who do you got?
Yeah. So the Carolina guys might be a little bit surprising between Andrei Svechnikov and Sebastian Aho, but I've watched a lot of Carolina because obviously they've been in the playoffs the last few years and they've played the Devils twice. Sebastian Aho is a sneaky, dirty player, and so is Svechnikov. So, like, I have no problem putting both of them on this list. Aho dives all the time, also, which drives me nuts. As a fan who just hates when players dive and stuff like that, but like, they are more than capable of certainly mixing it up after the whistle. and you certainly need a big, strong right winger who could certainly keep up with the two of them. And I mean, what's a better choice than Tom Wilson? Like Tom Wilson probably should have been on one of the top two lines, but when you have Nikita Kucherov and you have the Kachuk brothers, it's really tough to put Wilson in the top six there. So I think he would be happy with this placement here. Don't fight me, Tom Wilson, please.
Please. I mean, maybe like a few years ago, you could have made an argument for Wilson being, in the top six, but I think he's perfectly placed here. I actually kind of really like that line from both a shithead perspective and just an on the ice playing hockey perspective. That would be a good line right there. The Hurricanes were eliminated by the Panthers last night. Basically, Panthers decided to, they turned it on for a few minutes in the second period, and that was that. That was all she wrote. I saw Jeff Marek talking about this today. He's like, the series was over when Matthew Tkachuk was trying to get payback on Aho and was just bugging him, doing everything he could to finally get him to go. And he goes, and there was zero response from the Hurricanes. This is some big, bad, tough defensive team. Jalen Chatfield's got no problem leg sweeping people to win a fight. You see your top center, one of your, not your captain, one of your alternates, getting thrown around, and listen, I understand it's Matthew Tkachuk. He's trying to get payback for what happened for earlier in the series. There was zero response from the Hurricane. That was it right there. I'm sorry. At this stage of the playoffs, you're playing guys like the Panthers. I have no response to your cat. Even if he had it coming, like that's just weak sauce. That's just like, okay, we're laying down.
Yeah, that was fake tough guy stuff. So what can you do there?
Now, the fourth line role on a shithead team, I mean, to me, this is almost better than being a top because on the top line, because fourth line is where a lot of the shitheads that aren't marquee names make their bread and butter. But you got a good one here.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have a shithead team without a Domi somewhere.
Correct.
And he runs from a long lineage of shitheads with obviously his father Ty Domi, who was one of the biggest shitheads of the '90s and. Did he play in the 80s? Like, I guess he played late 80s,
yeah,
but mostly in the 90s, early 2000s. So we got to get Max on there. He had to be there. Corey Perry is very much I would say it's a lifetime achievement, but I think that downplays the fact that he's still really kind of a shithead. He still is at this advanced age, and that's how he's managed to sort of stick around. Long past it's easy to forget. Corey Perry won an MVP like a long time ago.
He was a 50 goal scorer.
And now he's forget fourth line. He's basically on Edmonton's top line right now. So, Corey Perry had to be there, and we needed a center who could certainly hang between the two of them. I really wanted to go Vincent Trocheck because I find him annoying. Annoying in an endearing term in terms of playing against, but I don't know. I feel like Ryan Hartman does a lot of the little subtle dirty stuff that really can't stand. So I had to put Ryan Hartman on the list.
No, Ryan Hartman absolutely belongs on this list. And the thing to watch at Ryan Hartman is right after the whistle blows, and that's when he will start doing stuff. And it's not super dirty, sucker punching, but the second that whistle blows, quick little subtle cross check into someone's back. You're he's that kind of guy. He's trying to rib you. He's trying to get you going. He's a good fit on that line. Corey Perry, I mean, he's been a shithead. Even when he was a 50 goal scorer on the top line with the Ducks with Getzlaf and Solani, he played that shithead role then. And that's why one of the analysts said it on the broadcast the other night. Corey Perry, the fact that he's a fourth liner, but that okay, you need to shuffle the deck a little bit. He can play on a top line with McDavid and Draisaitl, and he's not impairing the line. He's actually enhancing it. So he's just the fact that he can still be that effective and contribute that much at this age after the way he's played hockey for 18, 19 seasons. It's impressive.
Yep. So let's move on to the defenseman pairings because this is where I actually had a little bit of trouble trying to find I tried to find a six defensemen who can A, play and B, certainly qualify as shitheads. And I think I did a pretty good job here. So you got your top pairing of Braden McNabb and Jacob Trouba. That's a top line that'll probably struggle a little bit defensively because Trouba's just not that good defensively anymore. So McNabb's going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting there, but you can't have a shithead list without Jacob Trouba throwing a flying elbow here and there. And McNabb certainly has some of that edge to his game. I know this feels like the Florida Panthers Invitational, so yeah, I'm adding another one in Aaron Ekblad, who is certainly plays within the system, I guess, for lack of a better term. There, you pair him with a guy like Radko Gudas, who he's another guy like Kadri, where it's been a while since he's been in a big game because he's been playing on a bad Ducks team. But like like if he got into a playoff game, he would be rejuvenated and he would certainly look to put his stamp on that series. And then I finished up that top defensive pairings with Nikita Zadorov and Luke Shen. Zadorov was a guy who basically got paid because he's a shithead, and Luke Shen's a guy who gets traded at the deadline every year because he's a shithead. And like teams are always looking for those types of guys.
Luke Shen usually has somewhere between like 250 and 350 hits for a season. That's what he's bringing to the table. And I think part of the thing with Gudas and Trouba is now, because they've mellowed out a little bit. When you go play hockey in Orange County, California, I mean, when it's, sunny and 75 and 80, and that's the kind of environment you're going to the rink to every day, I almost feel like that brings their, whatever their max level of shitheadness now is like a little bit lower, because like, how can you be mad going to work when you live there? It's pretty good. But Ekblad certainly deserves his spot on the list. I like this group. I know you're not getting a lot of offense here out of any of these guys. Maybe a little bit out of Ekblad, but
I think we have enough offense in the top, certainly in the top 9, and then that's a fourth line that could score a little bit. So like I think you have enough offense up front. I'm not worried about offense from the back end here.
Now you got to have some extras ready to go in case somebody gets hurt. So let's talk about some of the scratches, but they could be ready to go at any given point.
Look, Nick Cousins, probably a really good 14th guy to have around. Just in terms, like, can he play hockey? No, but if you want somebody who's going to go into the lineup and start a fight and just mix things up, like Nick Cousins is certainly more than willing to do so. So is Jamie Benn, for that matter. Jamie Benn obviously has more game left in him, and I believe he's a free agent at the end of the year. So that'll be interesting to kind of see, like, if he takes less to stay in Dallas, or if somebody throws a little bit of a bag at him. So that's interesting. And then I kind of went off the board here a little bit with Arbor Zeka with the Canadians for your extra defenseman. I just feel like watching him, he certainly has a lot of those trades. We haven't really seen a lot of him in big games, and I don't think he really did a whole lot in the playoffs in that series against Toronto that really stood out to be on my radar. But like I said, I struggle a little bit with the defenseman, and I feel like he's a guy who would certainly fit in and play that sort of brand of hockey. So before we go to the goalies, I want to ask you, is there anyone that you feel is a glaring omission on my part? Because I threw a few extra names out there. To me, the biggest one is probably Matt Rempe, because of like who he is. But like, I feel like he kind of was walking on eggshells a little bit after that last suspension when he finally got a chance to get some extended run and play, and B, like, just in terms of like being a hockey player, like he's just not as good as like most of the other players I named. The only player I think that I've named there among the forwards that Matt Rempe is probably better than is Nick Cousins.
I'll say this: Rempe, I think, could absolutely be on the 2026 version of your shithead All Stars. I think.
Oh yeah, there'll probably be openings. Yeah.
The thing with Rempe, I think, because the way he came out, literally swinging, the way he played, I think at some point, whether it was a coach, a player, it's like, love what you're bringing to the table, love the energy, but like, you do us no good to drop us to 11 forwards 6 minutes into a game because you're fighting. Like, play that way, play on the line, play hard. But when you're actually going to beat the crap out of somebody and drop the gloves, you got to be a little more choosy about when you do that. And I think he's a young guy. Sometimes when you get like some advice, like, hey, you got to correct this, maybe you overcompensate and swing too far the other way because you're trying to do what's being asked of you. So I think towards the end of the year, in the middle, he found that middle ground a little bit better, because when we would have that debate, like, oh, should he be in the lineup, not be? Oh, you're an idiot if you say he shouldn't be in the lineup. Look the energy he brings. It's like, right. But if he brings that energy and is gone before the second period, that's useless to me. And now you're leaving the team shorthanded. So You know, if you're going to play a guy, he's got to be able to play more than 4 or 5 minutes a night. Like that's unacceptable. Like a minimum 8 to 9. That's minimum. So once now that he's gotten to that level, okay. So yeah, I think he'll be on the list. In terms of your omission question, I don't think so. I mean, you know, with the NHL, there's really no shortage of shitheads. So
no, there isn't.
So like it's like Team Canada, like for an international tournament. Oh, this guy got snubbed. That guy, like, listen, you could build a second Team Canada that will be just as competitive off the snubs. So same thing here. I think you did a good job.
I think at least in terms of the forward group, you could go 6 or 7 lines deep and be fine. It's a little trickier with the defensemen, but you know, it is what it is. And let's bring up the goalies real quick so we could just do that for completionist sake.
So we said Binnington, of course. I mean, no surprise there. There he is getting escorted off the ice by a referee.
Yep, Jordan Binnington there and Jacob Markstrom. If you've ever seen Binnington play and like, you know, some of the post whistle stuff, he's not afraid to, you know, whack somebody with the stick or give somebody a little shove there. I feel like Jacob Markstrom's a little bit of you know, the same comes from that same cut from that same cloth there, and Jacob Markstrom earned his spot on the team when he during that first round when he was threw a retaliatory shot at he threw it at one of the Panthers, one of the Hurricanes. The problem was he caught his own guy in Cody Glass and knocked him out of the game.
I remember talking about that on Total Hockey Now. I'm like, I got no problem what you did, Jacob, but like, if you're going to take that big of a swing with that kind of object, you got to look first before you can't just swing blindly like that. Because like I remember watching that game and I saw him do it, and then I see Cody. I'm like, did he just get his own guy with that? That had to fucking hurt. Like,
right, and like
right in the chest.
And of course, like with the Devils, like of course they suffer friendly fire from that. Now we can laugh about it now because he just missed the rest of that game. He turned out to be fine, and like, you know, Cody Glass laughed about it afterwards, but like, yeah, I feel like he had to be included in that list. But overall, I think I did a pretty good job here. I mean, after all, it's my list, so of course I did a pretty good job here.
Now, if you think there are omissions or like, hey, maybe I would have done the line combinations differently, we want to hear your all shithead teams. You can at Rip N Riff on Twitter or ripnriff@gmail.com. We will absolutely love to hear about whatever shithead candidates you have for this year and beyond. When I was making the graphics for that, a guy, he's been retired for a little bit, but a third goalie that would have been great for an all shithead team, Mike Smith.
Ooh, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that. I mean, obviously now he's retired, so.
But he was a guy that came up, like, because like I was trying to think of maybe a third goalie you could have added as an extra or something like that. And it's tougher to find shithead goalies that are at least active right now. Like, yeah, there are guys willing to fight if you challenge them at center rink, but there's no Billy Smiths out there. Is, you know, my point. There's
right. I mean, like, I guess like the late Ray Emery, maybe, you know, somebody like that would be a good like third goalie candidate. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, so kind of is what it is.
Yeah, he would have been a good one too, and he had a. And the thing is, you can't just be a shithead. You got to be able to do other things too, and all those guys contribute. All those guys bring other things to the table,
except for Nick Cousins.
Right. I mean, he's an extra.
Exactly. He's there if you need a spark. He's there if Max Domi's not pulling his weight.
So let's see if we find any shitheads in these packs. We got 3 packs of 5 here. Let's start with this guy was not a shithead. This was just an awesome hockey player on the right wing for many years, Mr. Daniel Sedin.
Yeah, very much not a shithead.
I mean, maybe Henrik says he's a shithead. You know, that's how twin brothers are probably going to be with one another. But from our perspective, no shitheadness with the Sedins. All right. This is a guy in the 90s that would have made the all shithead team, Chris Draper.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, Chris Draper, absolutely. We could go back and we could do a 90s version. I mean, that would certainly be a lot of fun in retrospect.
You're going to have a much tougher time putting together a 90s shithead team than you did, I think, because there's a lot of guys. It was a more physical, clutch and grab, you know, brand of hockey back then. Yeah, that's going to take some serious, number crunching. But I'm happy to.
Right, and that's the other thing too. Is like I don't want guys who are just shitheads. Like I actually want them to be somewhat good at hockey. Like there's a reason why like Austin Watson didn't make this list. Yeah, like, for the all shithead team. It's because he's barely an NHL player.
Like Tanner Janot, not making the team this time.
Probably not. No.
Maybe a few years ago, before he got that big contract out there, we got Gilbert Brulé from
trade their whole draft for him.
Yeah, that was Gilbert Brulé there with the Blue Jackets. Oh, we got a random orange Islander jersey sighting there. Victor Kozlov.
Yeah, that is a random. Boy, I can't remember when they wore those in game.
I mean, this is what a 07-08 pack, so it's got to be early aughts, early 2000s. Not a shithead, but definitely a guy that was a good contributor in Calgary and Colorado. Alex Tanguay.
Yeah, he's certainly a quality role player. He was on the Avs team that won the Stanley Cup as well. So,
all right, let's see. We got one shithead. Let's see if we can average one shithead per pack here.
Yeah, you get a star, you get a shithead, you get some role players.
Okay, I see one guy in the pack that'll be a fun conversation. Let's see here. We start with Keith Ballard. They're pictured with the old Desert Dogs Coyote jerseys there. Good defenseman for a little while there. Here's a guy that would have made a shithead team. Tuomo Ruutu.
Yeah, I guess he would have. My Tomo Ruutu memories aren't very good because, the Devils made that pointless trade to get him back in like 2014, and he was just dreadful for him because he had nothing left in the tank. And that was a classic Lou Lamoriello. We're not going to rebuild. We're going to go for it. Here's going for it. Here's Tomo Ruutu at like 34 years old. It's like, gee, thanks, Lou.
Now, you want to talk about bad acquisitions involving the Devils. This was you.
And by the way, isn't Tomo Ruutu an assistant coach with the Florida Panthers now? Or is he an assistant coach somewhere?
He's somewhere. And his brother Christian also is he didn't have the skill to be on the shithead team. But he definitely eclipsed Tuomo there. Scott Gomez, bad acquisition by the Rangers. Good job by the Devils not bringing him back.
Yeah, and Scott Gomez, he was just in the news the other day because like he was like coach GM for like some minor league team or something, and now he's doing something else. Yeah, current assistant coach with the Florida Panthers, Tomo Ruutu. So how about that?
And then we got Michael Nylander, father of William Nylander. I remember going to Ranger games and watching Nylander, Yager, Straka as their top line. Pretty solid. It was the year that Yager had 54, I want to say. And then we close this pack with Mr. Nikolai Habibulin, a.k.a. one of the better nicknames of all time, the Bulin Wall.
Yep.
All right, so got a shithead in that pack. Let's see if we can do one more shithead before we wrap things up and say farewell for this edition of Rip N Riff here on the Rip N Riff YouTube channel. Well, that's kind of creepy. I literally just talked about him, Marty Straka.
Yeah, a little bit.
I want $1 million in this pack. Where's that? Let's see here. You want to keep again a little bit of a weird coincidence. There's Henrik Sedin.
What is like AI is just predicting who's going to be in the packs? Like
this was like it was a hanger pack that was like sealed. I bought I think I got it was the last one available on Toy Wiz the last time I ordered. Let's see here. We got a rookie gems, but not necessarily a great player there. Robbie Shrimp, pictured with the Oilers there, played with the Islanders too. We got another Oiler here, Jarrett Stahl. Not a shithead, but a good center.
Yeah, he was a fine role player in his day.
Is he still dating or married to Erin Andrews?
I think they're married, right?
Erin Andrews. Let's see if they're still. I know they were married. Yeah, they're still married, and he does the intermission pre and post for the Kings telecast too. So he's still involved with the game there. Last card in the pack here. Really good defenseman of his era, Tomas Cabriolet.
Yep. So yeah, these are some pretty solid 2007-ish era hockey packs.
And the look is it's a sleek look. It's before Panini just came and just took over just what like the sharp looking cards and all that. For its time, this was pretty good though. I enjoyed that there. Now, goals of the day. I don't really. Would it be anything in this pack? Not really. I guess the JJ McCarthy rookie would be the pull of the day.
I mean, it's kind of a weak week in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you got in terms of what your candidates would be there.
I mean, I don't have much here. I mean, I could go with one of the Mets. You know what? I'll go with our guy Bob Walk, just because it's a funny picture.
Bob Walk, yeah, he is. And those hats too, those old Pirates caps there that look like train conductor hats that they converted into ball caps. Yeah. Listen, we're disappointed on the. There we go. Not much else there. I'm looking through just to double check.
They can't all be winners.
Can't
That's
all
the
be
problem.
winners. They can't all be, Macklin Celebrini, OPG glossy rookie ones. I keep this one very close to me at all times. I still got more Macklins to find and more boxes to open, but we're going to skip the starting lineups to the audience today. We're running out of time. We'll do it next week. We'll do a guessing game. I had a basketball guy ready to go. We'll roll that over to next week. Talk plenty of hockey there, Jared. All about the jersey.com. What's coming up for you on the Devils on the website?
Yeah, I wrote about free agent centers that went up yesterday. Next week, I'm going to write about why the Devils should trade for Quinn Hughes right now, assuming that Vancouver's willing to play ball.
I mean, it's one of the worst kept secrets in hockey that he wants to play with his brothers, and rightfully so. I mean, who wouldn't want to play with that? Especially because Jack's entering his peak. If he could stay healthy, Quinn's in his peak. Luke's about to go into his peak if he keeps trending the right way. So yeah, like you're going to put those three together. Now's the time to do it.
Right, rather than wait like 2 years for Quinn to hit free agency, it's like I think there's value in going out and getting a 25-year-old Norris caliber defender now and putting him on a playoff team right now. So like, yeah, I would probably do that. I think it's a no-brainer.
And the other part of that too is Luke's going to probably want a decent sized contract next time his comes around, and he's going to be, hometown discounts are a lot easier to get when your two brothers are across the way in the locker room.
He's a free agent this offseason. He's restricted, and he's a 10.2.C or whatever it is. So no offer sheets there for Luke. So sorry, Vancouver. You're not going to be able to offer sheet him.
Can you imagine if they that was their FU, if you got Quinn Hughes and then they turn around and offer sheeted Luke Hughes, all right, fine, we're taking a Hughes brother one way or the other.
I think they know where this is ultimately heading, and Vancouver has a lot of the problem is they hold all the cards here. They don't have to do anything, but yeah, you can hold on to the player, but he's just going to lose value in a trade. The longer you hold on to him, and if you know you're going to lose the player anyways, I think what they will ultimately want is I think they want Quinn to say no on a contract extension so they could say, all right, look, we tried to sign him. We offered him, the heaven, the earth, and the stars, and he wouldn't take it. He wants to go play with his brothers. What can we do? And they can't do that this offseason because they're not allowed to talk contract extension, but they can do it next offseason once July 1st hits and they're allowed to talk. So my guess is they're going to hold on to him for a year and nuke their own trade return in the process. So if that's their prerogative, if that's what they want to do, I just think it's a silly way of running a team.
And if you're the Canucks too, all right, so you fired Tocchet, you traded Miller, there's a window, and I know Canucks fans don't want to hear this, 1.5 seasons removed from, winning the division. This is a good time to maybe, if you're going to make that move, do it now. Just rip the Band-Aid off and start it all over. If you know where it's going with Quinn Hughes, why wait? For what? Elias Pettersson has not shown he's capable of being a top guy on a team. Despite ample opportunity. So,
and I'm not saying they have to trade Quinn Hughes to the Devils. Vancouver,
they get rid of him.
They don't have to do that. They could trade. They could just put him on the market, and whichever team puts the best offer out there gets the player. I mean, and they're within the right to do that. And look, a 25-year-old Norris winning defenseman who's the Norris finalist again this year, and who can put up 80 points from the back end, there's going to be teams lining up to get that guy, even if it's only for 2 years and, knowing he's probably going to leave as a free agent. He's going to have a lot of value.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Rip the Band-Aid off, get your haul, because you'll get one for, what are we going to say, the second best defenseman in the league, probably?
Probably, top 5 at worst.
Top 5 at worst. I would say second best, probably. But, yeah, you'll get more of that content over at allaboutthejersey.com. Also, Live Total Hockey Now coming up as well. On Thursday at 5 o'clock Eastern time. We're going to do our first mock draft. We're not in the offseason yet, but we're going to warm up there and do one. But we're at Mr. Jared Moore. I am at Pucking Thoughts, Adam Bernard. Back with you next week with an all-new episode of Rip N Riff here on the Rip N Riff YouTube channel.